a queen of brilliance and scandal. Catherine the Great, the woman who turned Russia into a European empire, ruled with wisdom, strategy, and iron will. Yet behind the gilded walls of her palaces, she lived a life that shocked the world. At least 18 lovers, some young enough to be her sons, one nearly 40 years her junior. She was admired as a genius, condemned as a sinner, and remembered as one of the most powerful women in history. Tonight, we unravel the double life of Catherine the Great, the Empress of Glory and of Desire. Hello everyone, welcome back. If you love dark and untold stories of history, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's dive into the shadows of Russia's most infamous empress. Catherine the Great was not born Russian at all. She entered the world in 1729 as Sophie Friedrich August von Anhalt-Zerbst in a minor German principality. A noble daughter, yes, but hardly destined for greatness. Her beauty was undeniable. Pale skin, striking blue eyes, and golden hair that caught every ray of light. At just 14, she was promised to the heir of the Russian throne. It was no love story, it was politics. Russia sought to strengthen ties with Prussia, and Sophie was the chosen pawn. She converted to the Orthodox faith, taking the name Ekaterina, and left behind her German roots forever. The wedding was lavish, the promise of power intoxicating. Yet her husband, the future Tsar Peter III, was far from a prince of fairy tales. He was awkward, weak in both body and mind, uninterested in his bride. Their marriage was cold from the beginning, a cage of duty rather than a bond of love. But Catherine was no ordinary wife. She was ambitious, cunning, and patient. In the glittering but treacherous court of Russia, she studied politics, alliances, and the art of survival. She learned the language, charmed the nobles, and slowly, silently built a network of allies. The girl who arrived as an outsider would one day seize the throne herself. But the path to power would be paved with betrayal, blood, and desire. By 1761, Catherine's life was at a breaking point. Her husband, Peter III, had ascended the throne after Empress Elizabeth's death. But instead of glory, Peter brought humiliation to Russia. He admired Prussia more than his own empire, neglected his duties, and alienated the powerful nobility. To Catherine, he was not only a poor husband, but a dangerous ruler. His erratic policies threatened the stability of the empire. Whispers spread, Russia cannot survive under Peter. Then came the moment Catherine had been waiting for. With support from powerful guards and generals, many of whom were not only her allies, but her lovers, she struck. In July 1762, Catherine rode on horseback through the streets of St. Petersburg, dressed in military uniform, sword at her side. Before the assembled soldiers, she declared Peter a traitor to Russia. The army roared their loyalty not to the Tsar, but to her. Peter III was forced to abdicate. Days later, he was captured and killed under mysterious circumstances. Many believed Catherine herself ordered his death. Whether or not she held the dagger, the blood of her husband paved her path to the throne. And thus, Catherine became Empress of all Russia. No longer an outsider, no longer a wife in the shadows. She was now the most powerful woman in Europe. But behind the crown lay whispers of betrayal and murder, a shadow that would haunt her reign forever. As Empress, Catherine ruled with brilliance, but in her private life, she indulged in passions that shocked Europe. From the age of 15 until her death at 67, she was said to have taken no fewer than 18 lovers. Soldiers, nobles, artists, even men 40 years younger than herself, all found their way into her bed. Her first great affair was with Count Sergei Saltykov. Catherine never hid it, and even claimed her son, the future Tsar Paul I, was not Peter's child, but Saltykov's. The resemblance, or lack thereof, was a scandal whispered in every court of Europe. Her second famous lover was Gregory Orlov, a bold officer who helped her seize the throne. Together they had a son, Count Alexei Boburinsky. Orlov was rewarded with riches and titles, but Catherine's love moved on. Then came Stanisław Poniatowski, a handsome Polish noble. Catherine adored him so much that she secured his election as King of Poland. For him, she gave not only her body, but political power itself. Their affair produced a daughter, Anna. But Catherine's bed was not only for kings and counts. Young men like Zawodowski, Zorik, and Yermolov, all fleeting flames, came and went. And then there was Platon Zubov, nearly 40 years her junior, her last great favorite. It was said that Catherine did not choose lovers blindly. Candidates were inspected by her private physician, tested for health, strength, and even endowment. Only those who could satisfy her standards were admitted. Her generosity was legendary. To her lovers, she gave estates, titles, and wealth, but never power over her throne. Catherine could share her bed, but not her crown. To some, she was a goddess of passion, to others, a scandalous libertine. Yet all agreed, no other woman had ever wielded love and power quite like Catherine the Great. In November 1796, Catherine the Great's reign came to a sudden end. At the age of 67, the most powerful woman in Europe collapsed from a stroke. For hours, doctors fought to save her, but by nightfall, the Empress of Russia was dead. Her death, however, did not pass quietly. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some whispered that she had died during a scandalous act, others that she had been murdered by enemies. The truth was far less sensational. She had suffered from illness and repeated falls, and in the end, her body gave way. Yet the rumors refused to die, feeding the myth of a queen as infamous as she was glorious. Catherine's private life may have been drenched in scandal, but her public achievements were undeniable. She expanded Russia's borders, modernized its administration, fostered the arts, and turned her empire into a European superpower. Under her, Russia entered its golden age. But history remembers not only her victories, but her passions. 18 lovers. A palace filled with whispers of excess. A ruler who blurred the line between sovereign and seductress. To some, she was Catherine the Great, the enlightened empress who raised Russia to greatness. To others, she was Catherine the Scandalous, a libertine whose appetites shocked the world. In truth, she was both. And that is why her legend endures. And so ends the tale of Catherine the Great, an empress of brilliance, scandal, and unquenchable desire. What do you think? Was she a visionary ruler, or a scandalous libertine, or both? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the dark corners of history.